Welcome to Storyflix. In this video, we will explain Marry Me. This movie tells the story of a pop superstar who is about to get married before an audience of her loyal fans. However, seconds before the ceremony, she learns about her fiancé's cheating ways and has a meltdown on stage. In a moment of inspired insanity, she locks eyes with a total stranger in the crowd and marries him on the spot. Will true love grow between them? Let's find out in Marry Me. Marry Me tells the story of Caterina "Cat" Valdez, a pop star who is a long-known starlet of the Latin community who has a history of failed high-profile marriages. Cat has a fiancé named Bastian and plans to marry soon. After Marry Me, a song written and sung by Cat and her fiancé, Bastian, became a worldwide chart topper. The two are planning to hold their wedding ceremony in front of an audience at one of Cat's upcoming concerts. News about Cat and Bastian's wedding plans became a trending topic worldwide because fans were looking forward to the sacred moment of their idol artist. On the other hand, a man named Charlie Gilbert was seen busy preparing breakfast for his only daughter, Lou. Charlie, who works as a mathematics teacher at an elementary school, has become a widower after divorcing his wife. Charlie teaches at Lou's school, where he becomes good friends with one of the teachers there, a woman named Parker Debs. Charlie and Parker observe Lou's behavior, which is now entering puberty, where Charlie is worried that he will not be able to accompany his daughter properly. The scene then switches back to Cat, who is seen on a video call with Bastian. The two seem happy because soon they will officially become husband and wife, as Cat has always dreamed of. Bastian said that Cat is a special woman and deserves all the best in this world. That night, when Charlie accompanies Lou, before going to bed, he recounts fond memories of when Lou was a child and he had not yet divorced his wife. But Lou seemed unenthusiastic and said that she couldn't even remember some of those beautiful moments because she was too young at the time. The next day, Cat seemed to be getting ready for a concert and holding her wedding ceremony with Bastian. On the other hand, Parker invites Charlie to watch Cat Valdez's concert because the diva is also planning to get married at her concert. Charlie accepts Parker's invitation, but on one condition: he will take Lou too. Charlie, Parker, and Lou finally came to Cat's concert and looked so excited. However, just before Cat prepared to go to the altar, Colin Calloway, as Cat's manager, found out about Bastian's affair with Cat's assistant, Tyra, which was revealed by reporters and spread to the internet. Colin rushed to meet Cat and told her about the affair Bastian and his assistant. Cat looks so shocked by the harsh reality that Bastian has betrayed her. However, she didn't necessarily cancel her wedding plans because she had prepared everything and was looking forward to the moment. In her disappointment and frustration, Cat still went on stage and asked her crew to turn off the music because she had something to say. Cat says she should sing Marry Me with Bastian and marry him. But, as everyone knows, Bastian is cheating on her, and Cat only finds out right before she gets on stage and gets married. On the other hand, Bastian, who thought that Cat would still marry him, even though he had an affair, was preparing on the side of the stage with full of confidence. However, in distress, Cat sees Charlie in the crowd holding Parker's sign reading Marry Me. To Charlie and everyone else's surprise, Cat impulsively decides to marry Charlie. Despite his insecurities, Charlie decides to go on stage and marry Cat in front of everyone who witnessed the concert in person. After the wedding ceremony, Cat refuses to speak to Bastian or Tyra, who tries to apologize to her and clarify things. Charlie, who saw Cat look so disappointed and frustrated, then rushed to confront her and chased Bastian away so he wouldn't bother Cat anymore. Meanwhile, in the car, Cat and Charlie look awkward and are polite to each other. Charlie then apologizes for being presumptuous in blocking Cat's ex-fiancé from meeting her. Cat doesn't mind it and instead apologizes to Charlie for randomly choosing him to marry her and causing him to get into a difficult situation. Cat returns to her residence with a broken heart while Charlie gets news that he has now become a famous person due to his impromptu marriage to the diva, Cat Valdez. Meanwhile, the media is frenzy, speculating about Cat's mental state after her breakup with Bastian and her decision to marry someone she doesn't know quite well. The next day, in need of responding to the media's attention, Cat decides to stay married to Charlie for the next few months to make a positive difference in the situation. Colin then goes to Charlie and offers him some money to be willing to stay married to Cat for the next few months. Parker, who heard the offer, then told Colin that Charlie would not accept the money and would prefer to donate it to a charity. After being pressed by Parker and Colin, Charlie reluctantly agrees to continue the marriage for the next few months because he doesn't want to cause a stir in their personal lives. Accompanied by Parker, Charlie was then taken to meet Kat, where he was asked to pose for media appearances. Even though Charlie looks uncomfortable because the camera is always watching his movements and many people are always around Kat, he still tries to do his best because he doesn't want to disappoint Kat. Charlie and Kat then hold a press conference to clarify their marriage in front of the reporters. Unexpectedly, Charlie seemed comfortable around Kat and answered reporters' questions straightforwardly. Kat and Colin then praised Charlie for appearing well and convincing the media crew to no longer question their relationship. After the press conference, Kat was back at her job, and so was Charlie. Kat is seen still occasionally monitoring Bastian's activities through social media, indicating that she actually still loves Bastian. Meanwhile, Charlie must begin to adapt to his new life as the husband of a famous diva, and the media crew always watches his movements. One night, Lou asked her father if Kat would be her new mother because she would be very happy if Kat really became her mother. Not wanting to give his daughter empty hopes, Charlie then comes clean that he and Kat will only be married for a few months for formality. For the sake of content on social media, Charlie teaches Kat bowling, and their activities are watched by hundreds of thousands of people.
Strike is better than a spare, right?
That is not your first time bowling.
After that, Charlie decides to go home, but Kat insists on coming with him because she wants to know what Charlie's house is like. Charlie agrees on one condition: he doesn't want Kat's visit to his house just for the sake of content on social media, so Charlie refuses to have cameras watching them. Kat accepts the terms and asks her cameraman to go home. Alone with Kat at his house, Charlie then told his past, where he had been married once and divorced. Kat casually responded by saying that she had been married 4 times, including to Charlie. Even though Kat has been rich with her profession as an international diva, she continues to do her job professionally and is passionate about continuing to work, and Charlie remains loyal to accompanying her anytime and anywhere. Even though Kat was busy with her work, she still kept in touch with Charlie over the phone. Kat and Charlie finally start to get close to each other after spending time together away from the media's spotlight and Kat's management. Kat seemed to be getting interested and paying attention to Charlie. Likewise with Charlie, who has actually fallen in love with Kat. But he soon realized that he was nothing compared to Kat. While Charlie was teaching math at school, Kat surprisingly came there. The students seemed happy and enthusiastic about welcoming a pop star who many people loved. Kat then teaches Lou and Charlie's students to dance together, and everyone looks happy. Kat's activities were broadcast live on Kat's personal social media accounts. That evening, Lou asks Kat if she loves her father. But before Kat could answer, Charlie rushed in. Kat then presented a luxury bag for Lou. Charlie then ventured to invite Kat to his school dance and asked her to come as his date, and Kate accepted the invitation. On the appointed night, Kat comes to the school dance and is greeted directly by Charlie. Everyone seemed excited to see Kat's arrival, and Kat also seemed to really enjoy the party. Kat then went on stage and sang a song that described the happy feelings she was feeling right now. She asked everyone to sing along, and they all seemed happy. After that, Charlie was about to drive Kat home and thanked her for taking the time to come. Charlie also praised Kat's performance on stage. Kat then decides to go to Charlie's house, where they dance, kiss, and have sex for the first time as husband and wife. Kat and Charlie then spend the next few weeks together in a real romantic relationship. Kat even gave Charlie a memorable gift, and they spent time visiting the amusement park. Charlie prepares his math team for a mathalon with Kat's encouragement to the students. Kat teaches Lou, who has stage fright, to dance to take her mind off her anxiety. One day, while Kat is rehearsing and accompanied by Charlie, Bastian suddenly appears and insists on meeting her, where he tells Kat that the song "Marry Me" has been nominated for a Grammy, Kat's first nomination. Hearing this, Kat was very happy because it was her dream. On the other hand, Charlie is wary that Kat and Bastian will have to appear together again at the awards ceremony, and Bastian also openly says that he wants to get back to Kat. Colin then said that he managed everything as long as Charlie was not in the media spotlight for a while. Kat and Charlie then discuss, where Kat confirms that her relationship with Bastian is over. However, Charlie becomes unsure that he can be compared to Bastian and fit into Kat's world. Charlie then leaves Kat, arguing that their marriage never existed. On the night of the biggest music award in the world, Bastian and Kat returned to a duet and sang the song "Marry Me" with great chemistry. Charlie, who witnessed Kat and Bastian's appearance at the house, felt very jealous and irritated. However, Charlie couldn't do anything because he felt he was nothing. He then ventured to meet Kat after the event. Although Kat seemed happy to meet Charlie, she couldn't resist when Bastian called her for an interview to discuss their success in being nominated for a Grammy. Seeing the closeness of Kat and Bastian off the stage, Charlie, who felt jealous, then decided to leave there. Kat, who was indecisive about her feelings, wrote a song called "On My Way," which turned out to be more successful than "Marry Me." Long story short, Kat and Charlie began to rarely see each other, and rumors about Kat being back in love with Bastian became viral on social media because they were always seen together. While getting ready to attend a talk show on television with Bastian, Kat realizes it is the day before the mathalon, where she promised to support Lou and Charlie. In an interview on The Tonight Show with Bastian, Kat corrected the rumors and firmly stated that she and Bastian were not getting back together. She also revealed that she wrote "On My Way" not for Bastian, but for Charlie. After explaining everything, she rushed to the airport to attend the mathalon to support Lou and Charlie. Kat had a problem because the executive class plane tickets had run out and there was only economy class left, but Kat didn't care about that because the most important thing for her was to get to the race on time. Kat even treats all the economy class passengers with delicious food because they are so nice to her. Helped by Parker, she finally arrives at the mathalon just in time, just as Lou is on stage trying to overcome her stage fright with the dance Kat taught her. Charlie's team loses, and Lou cries with guilt. Charlie then hugged his daughter tightly and cheered her on. Kat then stepped forward and joined Lou's encouragement. She then asks Charlie to marry her again, to which Charlie immediately agrees. Kat, Charlie, and Lou finally become a happy family. The moral we can learn from this film is that true love can come from anywhere and can be found anywhere. True love can be found in someone from a completely different background from ours. However, one thing is certain, true love is always based on sincerity and does not look at the wealth, throne and position we have.